is in that? It's at the top. Top of page 2. It's all in there.
I'm flexible. Sometimes. It's time. It is time. It is time. Takes a licking and keeps on ticking. What watch is that?
Seiko. No, Timex.
Timex. Those were great commercials where they had these Timex watches strapped to bobsleds and still working, takes a licking and keeps on ticking. Okay. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Yeah. I am going to just guess that everyone decided that because it's the holidays, we're taking a night off, right? Shabbat Shuvah, I was just going to say, but Shabbat Shuvah is really an important date between the holidays. It's the opportunity for us to take stock in where we're at in the midst of the holiday. And so for those of you who are here with the idea of making this a most special Shabbat, I'd like you to take just a second before we get started and make it a most special Shabbat for someone else in the room by telling them hi and greeting them. If you don't know them, to meet them. And if you do know them, say, hi, I'm glad I've seen you again. So, please. Hi, it's good seeing you again. Okay. Okay, so let's find our resting place. Na la shevet. Na la shevet, Shabbat Shalom. Here's a cool piece of Hebrew trivia. Okay? The verb lashevet means to sit. Shabbat is the same root. So it means to relax, to take a seat, to take the weight off the feet. So in a very literal sense, the word Shabbat as a form of the verb to sit means to take a load off. So it's great that we're here. We're going to begin tonight. By the way, I wrote the service for Shabbat Shuvah. We will be following it. I've tried to include the lyrics for everything that we're going to sing as well. And we're going to begin with Olam Chesed. May this world be built on love and grace.
I will build this world from love. And you must build this world from love. If we build this world from love, God will build this world from love.
We'll continue responsively, please. Miracles can start out as tiny things, specks of God's love floating all around us, shimmering at a frequency just beyond human sight. But when, like a dewdrop catching sunshine, a miracle enters light from heaven, it shines briefly like a firefly to remind you that you're not alone. Follow the light. For the specks of the divine can be coaxed into your heart, and it will shine brilliant, radiant, and forever. Ozi v'zimratia.
Ozi v'zimratia vayahi l'shua. 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 Ozi v'zimratia vayahi l'shua.
Yes, we are on page 2.
Shabbat is the answer to the problem of civilization, not to flee from the realm of space or to busy ourselves in work with the things of space.
Shabbat calls upon us to be loved with eternity. Things are our tools, but the Sabbath is our eternity, even our mate.
On the Sabbath, we learn the art of surpassing civilization, to set apart this one day from the vulgar, a day on which we stop worshiping the idols of technical civilization, a day of armistice in the economic struggle with each other.
These lights call on us to set aside the pursuit of things and turn to celebrate the blessing of being. On this day of God, we meet each other amidst holiness and in the pursuit of the miraculous.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshonu b'mitzvotav v'tzivonu, lahadlik ner shel Shabbos.
Amen. Go ahead and relight that one.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, l'chadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We have to work on these candles. Okay, amen.
Holy One of blessing, author of creation, in holiness you call us to kindle the lights of Shabbat. Well of all hope, eternal God, we bring this cup and its sweetness from the vine to our lips, praying that the words that flow from our mouths should bring joy and well-being for the sake of the entire world. May our hearts gladden and our spirit rejoice as we welcome this festival of the soul, the Shabbat of return.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'vratzon hinhilanu, zikaron l'maaseh bereshit, ki hu yom tehillah l'mikra'e kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'charta, yotanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava u'vratzon, hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh haShabbat. Amen.
L'chaim.
Thank you.
Please rise, Baruch.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Yalalai, 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 Baruchu et Adonai hamevorach, Baruch
Shabbat Olam, infinite is God's love for this world. Our quest for healing must be through this love. To love God truly, you must first love all of humanity. If anyone tells you that one loves God but does not love his or her neighbor, that person is lying. Together. The opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. The opposite of life is not death, it's indifference. Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. Love is that condition in which the happiness of another person is essential to your own. We will be the blessing the world celebrates or the curse it endures. The blessing where we stand for righteousness and love for each other, or the curse when we stand only for ourselves.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם בארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Av HaRachaman, compassionate parent, fulfill your promise of redemption for all the world. May our every human embrace build a more whole tomorrow. As partners, we must make unity where there is strife, love where there is hate, and passion where there is indifference. We praise our Creator, our partner with whom we redeem our world.
Ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha neder b'kodesh, nora tehilot osefele, nora tehilot osefele. Malchutecha ra'u v'necha, okel yam livnei Moshe u'Miriam, zelianu ve'amru, zelianu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha neder b'kodesh, nora tehilot osefele, nora tehilot osefele.
Eternal God, what can we say in your presence? How can we account for our failings? How can we account for the failings of the world? We speak of teshuvah and repentance, yet we are slow to change. But on this day we turn to you in prayer, asking for a chance to make ourselves whole for the coming year. how do we demonstrate our appreciation for the blessings that we too often take for granted? Eternal God, help us look with more loving and appreciative eyes. Let our hearts better demonstrate how we cherish the blessings and gifts that sustain us and grow our joys. As we embark on the journey, we know that we must first visit the year in reflection. We have fallen short of the mark of goodness and decency that we've established for ourselves. As we embark on this journey, we must be mindful of the blessings that we share. At times, we've achieved goals mightier than we could have imagined. Let us remember to give thanks to the sources of love and strength who hold us in this world. And so we celebrate this Shabbat Shuvah, this Sabbath of return.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. בני ובן בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
The belief that God will do everything for people is as untenable as the belief that we can do everything for ourselves. It too is based in a lack of faith. We must learn that to expect God to do everything while we do nothing is not faith, but superstition. We are bound ourselves to a partnership with God. Our obligation is our blessing. May we share this blessing and help heal our world's broken parts. We rise for Amidah.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elokei avoteinu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei מושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Please be seated. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. God said, let an expanse separate the heavens, and there was earth. God said, let the waters gather, and let fruit and trees grow on dry land, and the earth lived. God said, let the seas bring forth life, let animals roam the land, and birds, and there was earth. God said, let us make humanity in our image, and we were born. God told them,
First man and woman, be fruitful and multiply, and there was humanity.
God commanded us, do not hate another in your heart, love your neighbor as yourself, and there was light. Ashivenu Adonai Elecha, v'nashuva chadesh yamenu kekedem. Help us to return to you, O God, and we shall return. Renew our days so we might begin again. Help us rest peacefully tonight. May we work so that others can rest peacefully as well. May we create for our children and our children's children a world of compassion and hope together. Spread our shelter of peace over this world. May we share it in joy and in peace. May we return to you in turning, give us vision. In our turning, give us courage. In our turning, give us wisdom. In our turning, give us strength. In our turning, give us compassion. In our turning, may we help bring peace.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki
Baruch atah Adonai oseh hashalom. May the one who makes peace in the heavens above cause it to imbue us with the need to spread it throughout the entire world. Let's take a few moments as we pray privately for that peace. Take a few moments to think about people who are in need of strength, of healing, restoration. People all over the world suffering from violence and from the ferocity of nature. People who are ill and injured, people who are just tired. We take them to our hearts and we add to the long list of people around the world, people much closer to home. Ed Beck, Reverend Troy DuPont, Adrian Friedman, Lois Gallowitz, Cantor Judith Avadia, Dorothy Parent, Ricky Reeves, and Nathan Snyder. Are there other people that we are holding in prayer?
Barbara Becker.
I don't know, God's never told me how it works, but I think that it's not a matter of how many people are holding and praying. It's about the fact that people who are being held know that they matter. And so may we be able to share energies in this world, and may people know that we desperately want their return into their sense of wholeness and into our being. Baruch atah Adonai Rofei HaCholim. We ask God to make us instruments of that healing.
Mi sheberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah let us say Amen.
Who wants to tell me what this is? Anything that comes to mind? Let's jump at the obvious. It's a can. Okay? Now, this happens to be a beer specially brewed for Leadership Harrisburg by a brewery in Hershey. That's all good and well. But what else is this?
5 cents in a lot of states.
It's what?
5 cents in a couple of states.
5 cents and a couple steaks, okay? It's a use of resources. It's an advertising tool, right? And once it's emptied, it can be recycled into another can. It can be used for tzedakah jar. Folks, the opportunities to use this can are nothing short of amazing. So which one of you is right? Isn't that crazy? Everyone can be right. Come back to this in just a moment. We're coming to the end of the Torah cycle, and think about it. Rosh Hashanah was last week, and we still have Torah portions yet to come. The Torah cycle does not change with the changing of the calendar. So we're in the new year, but we're reading the old cycle. Does anyone ever think about that and go, things that you just want to go, to, right? I know you're all going to lose sleep over this one, okay? So, but think about it. We have to finish not only the year, but go a couple weeks into it, and then we're going to start at Simchat Torah, when we unroll the Torah scroll around the sanctuary. We're going to read the last pieces of Deuteronomy and the first pieces of Genesis, and that way there's no really beginning and end. It's a kind of seamless thing. The Torah cycle never really comes to an end. So why do we do it that way? Because the rabbis had nothing else to do than mess with us, right? No. Why do we do it that way? I mean, life isn't simple, right? It's when we embark on new journeys, we still have to deal with our already existing commitments. We have to deal with all of the stuff that's already there. Even when a train realizes it's going in the wrong direction, it has to continue further in the wrong direction while it's slowing down. Okay? And they know they're going in the wrong direction, but there's no way of just stopping and turning the whole train around. Right? So that's what life is. When we embark on new journeys, we still have to deal with everything that comes before us. And it takes time after finding a new job to wind up the old one, or to prepare yourself, especially if you have to move, to get ready for the new one. A student getting into college still has to finish high school. My son, he got into college, and then I started getting notices from his teachers that his work wasn't being turned in. He says, "Dad, I got into college." I said, that was dependent on you graduating high school, Newly married couple still has to merge lives. And after we lose beloved people, we have to take some time to reorient. We just don't take our next steps into our new lives. So life is about being patient through meaningful transition. So we started a new year, but we have to finish telling the Torah story as it was given to us, grounding and preparing us to move into the new cycle. It's kind of like if you watch any series, TV series, and the beginning of every episode is moments from the last episodes, and they handpick those moments that are relevant to what this episode is going to be. So they may go back two seasons to pull out a fact so that you can know what's going to be discussed in this episode on TV. Now, how many of you just bypass those scenes from previous? Yeah. And then how many of those of us who do that get caught going, now what did I miss? I don't remember how that happened and how that played out. It's there for a reason. So life moves forward, and we really never leave our past behind. Rabbi Mordechai Kaplan, who's the founder of the Reconstructionist movement, said that the past has a vote but not a veto in our tomorrow decisions. And our challenge is that the way in which we hold on to the past determines how powerful that vote stands in forging the future. Second and third marriages often stand or fall on how a couple moves past their previous marriages. Old injuries can make us afraid to play as aggressively as we used to. Sometimes the injury makes us stronger, and sometimes not so much. You know the statement, you have to get back up on the horse? Sometimes we're just too afraid to do it. In general, we hope that, as Mark Twain taught, good judgment is the result of experience, and experience is the result of bad judgment. And we learn from our mistakes, we hope, and we learn from our successes. But in every case, perspective drives the way in which these experiences influence our lives. As they say in our tradition, mitzvah goreret mitzvah and avera goreret avera. One mitzvah begets the next, and one transgression begets the next. If you start from a place of negative, you're going to head in that direction. If you start from a place of positive, you're going to head in that direction. And so, this week in Torah, as we're nearing the end of the cycle in Parshat Ha'azinu, Moses is giving us the beginning of his final farewell address. The entire book of Deuteronomy is Moses trying to find a way to say goodbye. And now we're near the end of that journey. And once again, he recaps the entire 40-year journey through the wilderness. He reminds us that everything that happens resulted from the way in which people handled their partnership with God. There's no intervening or opposing forces except us. To quote from the chapter of Deuteronomy, Adonai alone did guide us, no alien God alongside. Meaning, everything that happens is between us and God. Anybody remember Flip Wilson? What was his famous line on Laugh In? The devil made me do it. There is no such thing, okay? You know, we can't blame someone else. When we fall short, it's because we fell short. And where we succeed, guess what? We did it, you know, and God is the partner in all of this stuff. So tradition teaches us that when we do good work, the odds of good results go up. Now, there is no guarantee, because you may be doing the best job possible, but the person next to you may not be, right? So how many people have said, I thought I was doing so well, why did it happen to me? Well, why? Because the guy next to you wasn't doing so well, and you happen to be caught up in that person's baggage. So perspective is everything. In tractate, the Talmud, Sukkah 52, we read that at the end of days, God will present us with the Yetzer Hara. We'll put the evil inclination in front of us. You know, that thing that makes us tempted to not do the stuff we're supposed to be doing. And God will destroy it in front of all of us. Okay? Now, the righteous people are going to say that the evil inclination looked like this huge mountain that we had to overcome. And those who are not so righteous are going to say, it looked just like a tiny hair width. It was a small thing. And so the rabbis say, how can it be both? How can it appear so different to two groups of people who saw the very same thing? Well, Civil War of the United States. Was it about slavery or states' rights? Yes, exactly. Was Washington the American hero or the British traitor? Both, yes. Okay, and when I made my children latkes with ground up vegetables, some loved them and some hated them, the very same latkes. And we get complacent buying into our own stuff. We reassure ourselves that our answer is the only legitimate answer, and they swore that the other one was wrong, that they were really horrible, and the other one said, no, they're the best things they've ever had. Okay? That's how we do things in this world. Okay? But truth is never black or white. It may be to some folks, at least they think it may be black and white, but they don't see past the things that they think they know. They have this thing called a horizon, and they don't see anywhere past the horizon. Now, when you look out on the ocean, now I understand we have the east shore and the west shore here, right? But at the shore, okay, when you look out onto the ocean, you don't see the ships, you don't see the land on the other side, but intuitively, we know there's something there. We know that there's something beyond what we can see. But how often do people get so stuck at that horizon when we talk about religion or politics or how we feel about things? And I'm not going to be able to even think that there's something past what I know I know. It's black or it's white. And so, when we think about perspective, we have to remember that I feel strongly about something and you feel strongly about something, and we've seen the same thing. We feel strongly on different ends of the spectrum, that there is that place for both of us to be right in what we know. And it's really painful sometimes for us to get past what we know. Like with therapy, any therapy, it hurts first. Physical therapy after an injury. Who enjoys physical therapy right after an injury? Anybody ever had to do it? Yeah, nobody likes it. Emotional therapy, you have to you have to get rid of the blinders, of the blockades of what's holding you and what's traumatizing you before you can even begin to think about healing. Right? So if we're in it and we understand this, then it's a mountain that we've overcome. If we are skating through it, then it's just a paltry thing. It doesn't matter. But the people who see the Yetzer Hara as something that's just a thin line, a thin hairline, are the ones who aren't paying attention to begin with. Faith is found in that struggle, realizing that everything we overcome, if we have to work to do it, it was a meaningful journey. It's not a byproduct. It is, in fact, the thing that's most important. So Moses admonishes us to remember that as we walk into the land, the new land, we're about to cross the River Jordan, that we have to take with us everything that was. The fact that we've crossed that body of water doesn't mean that we've forgotten who we were. We've forgotten the trials, the tribulations. The fact that we walk across that river together means that we are forging this new journey with people from different tribes, people who have different ancestries, 12 different tribes, and all of the other people that glommed on, right? And we have to do it together. So we're walking into a new year, and we have a world that is really split over all sorts of things. But I don't know how we can walk into this new year and say that it will be a meaningful year, a year of healing, if we don't recognize the mountain that we have to peel back, the therapy, the journey that we have to travel together, painful to get past even our own hurt, people who have said things or done things that have hurt us. There is no healing in this world until we move through it and find our way back to each other. Some of the most important words in our tradition are the words that most of us never say. It's in the morning prayers. At one point where it says, Elu devarim she'ein lahem shi'or. These are the things, the tasks, where the blessings are without measure. And one of them is the obligation to turn your enemy into your friend. Not to stop the fighting, but to find a way through all of the baggage to a place where you could look someone else in the eye, someone who's been vehemently in opposition, and say, you know what? We don't have to agree, but I have to respect, and you have to respect, and we have to find a way to love each other through this. That's painful, folks. That's hard work. But there's nothing about faith that's supposed to be easy. So I go back to this can. Aristotle said that something is good or bad based on whether it fulfills its potentiality. We think of good and bad as being something that is nice and lovely, and bad as something that is wrong. But for Aristotle, it had nothing to do with the value. It had everything to do with, did it do what it's supposed to do or didn't it? And as we demonstrated at the very beginning of this talk, it can do all sorts of things. Right? And the fact that for some it may be a can of drink, and for others it may be an ashtray. It's both. And you don't have to agree with someone's assessment to recognize that their assessment is as possible and as plausible as your own. Let's apply that to the real world. Amen. Amen. So we are at Aleinu at the bottom of page 9. I ask that everyone rise, please.
Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינה רוזו בגופי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, ואנחנו קוראים משתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Sightlessly, we walk past the miracles that fill our world. We take for granted the breath that feeds our bodies, the emotions that stir our souls, and the human reflections of God with whom we are blessed to share our lives. Prayer of Kaddish reminds us to celebrate every living day, to appreciate the lives that touch our own, and to be thankful for loved ones in our lives. We praise God, thankful for the blessings that fill our lives. This week we recall the Yartsites, Dr. Jerome Bartok, Philip G. Berman, Elise Beanstalk, Ann Hoffman, Paul Kastner, Edna Nager, Leonard Meritz, Anthony Niglio, Abraham Plosky, Arthur Rosenberg, Harry Sakin, Alfred J. Sherman. We are in Shloshim for Gary Grobman and David Henry Hausman, and Shiva for Harold Hurwitz. Are there other annual Yortsites that we are observing tonight? Zichronam livracha. May the memories that they've left to us lead us to blessing. We continue with the words of Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba v'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayachon v'yomechon uvchayei dechal beit Yisrael v'agalav v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevorach le'olam u'almei almaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yit'alal shmei l'kudsha brichu Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, ta'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlomo rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Osei shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, comfort to all who are bereaved, we say together, amen. Please be seated. We have a program filled with a very busy calendar and some announcements of upcoming events. For everyone here, you can have it. For those watching at home, it is on our website, ohevshalom.org. If you get the Tuesday email, it's in the Shalomogram, which I think is a great title for our Tuesday email. And if you'd like to get it and aren't getting it, let the office know and we can put you on the email list. But just of note, we do have Torah study tomorrow morning on Zoom. The topic is forgiveness has very little to do with I'm sorry. I hope it's a fruitful conversation. They usually are. Kol Nidre is Sunday night, 7:30. And Yom Kippur all day on Monday. Please avail yourself of the opportunities to be part of this community and to share in the joy of what we do. We get to do. Two other things. The Uptown Harrisburg Sukkah Hop, sponsored by Silver Academy. These flyers were handed out. If you'll notice, with the exception of the governor's residence, all of the Sukkot are within like 2 blocks of each other. And so I asked to be included last year, but we are not close enough within those 2 blocks. So we will have to do something radical. And you're going to have to make personal invitations for people to join you in our sukkah, which is technically the way it's supposed to be. So please, it'll go up Sunday, weather permitting. If not, sometime during the week. You may have seen in the back of the parking lot, the materials are starting to gather. Tim Carey is in charge of building the sukkah if you want to help. So that, and if you got a paper bag on Rosh Hashanah, you got this flyer with a list of things that are needed. If you did not get a bag, bring one of your own and please fill it with canned and non-perishables. We know that even while giving food, donating food does not change the world and does not end hunger, it is an incredibly necessary Band-Aid while we're doing the work of ending hunger and changing the world. I guess last, Monday morning, Yom Kippur morning, I'm not giving a sermon, but Joe Robinson, credible man in this community, is going to join me here for a conversation on, continue with the theme of why we have to listen to people who dislike us. You get to hear that from several different perspectives. So join us for services, and with that expectation, this is his bio. With that, we're going to continue on our way with Lechi Lach. Words basically said to Abraham, go on your journey and I'll bless those who bless you, and we'll build the world anew.
Lehi lach, to a land that I will show you. Lech lecha, to a place you do not know. Lehi lach, on your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing, and you shall be a blessing, and you shall be a blessing. Lehi lach, Lehi lach, and I shall make your name great. Lech lecha, and all shall praise your name. Lehi lach, to the place that I will show you. L'simchat chayim, l'simchat chayim, l'simchat chayim, lehi lach. You shall be a blessing, you shall be a blessing, and you shall be a blessing, lehi lach.
As we leave this place, may we take the sacredness of having been with each other on our way. May relationships that we get to renew or forge because we've spent time here together continue to grow and help the world grow around us. May we move from strength to strength and joy to joy in this new year. And may this be the year of blessing we desperately pray for. So with that, Sarah?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Te'avon, Shabbat Shalom. Sarah, thank you for tonight and for the holidays. Please, if you have appreciated the music for the holidays, let Sarah and Conrad know, because they put a lot of time and energy and love into this. So thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Come get some challah. Shabbat Shalom, Liv. Aubrey? Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. My pleasure, Linda. Thank you. And to Kenny.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Please. Con? Thank you. Paul, I'm going to leave you in charge of this. Thank you.
Notice how we did that.
You got voluntold well.
I'm always voluntold.
Thank you. And Lee, I will get to you with the information about when, okay? Thank you. Guys, you're here. Thanks.
Good to be here. I don't like to walk out on you, but I couldn't wait any longer.
I'm glad you're here, okay? There or here, you know? I'm taking care of you as you need, you know?
Thanks. Thanks. So is the sukkah going up on Sunday? Because I might be able to help out. I can reach out to Tim.
Yeah, ask Tim because it's weather permitting.
Raining.
Yeah, but I don't know what time it's starting, so.